So basically, if we start a new city, we have everybody in a room, and in 2, 3, 4 days sessions, including the end users, including shops, including institutions, including municipality, including local clubs, we will bring them through a phased type of strategy, and after that they have their own plan, their own identity, their own value propositions, and they start to implement that. I ignore this. These are the results of this co-creative process. I'm not certain why Roel put it in. Yes. So I had some other things like a nice, some nice pictures, but you have to forget that. I think this is it.
You said it's expensive scheme because you said you have point of sale devices, or because isn't it very expensive? I always heard that for small schemes, like isn't it better with apps? Or how is the budget? What is the heaviest part of the budget? Brokering or technology?
No, we don't broker yet, and this is one of the reasons why our peer-to-peer activities is much lower than we want. I think we need to add brokering to overcome that. The technical thing is, so the costs of the technical infrastructure for these 2 municipalities are around 5,000 euros per month. So that gives you an idea how much it is. So that is very limited, and at the same time, if you do not have a professional scheme, you can never afford it. But it's limited. It's not that it's the major part of the budget. So the major part of the budget, to be honest, is salaries. So we have 4.2 full-time people on this one. So calculate how much it is in salaries, because this is where the money is. So that's the first one, salaries. The second big thing is communication costs, where I really dislike paper. At the same time, big parts of these target groups, I can't reach them with anything else than a paper, and the only reason why we have a card, and we don't use the mobile phone, we still need a terminal though, I think, is because the elderly people don't use the smartphone for anything fancy. So the phone, they use the WhatsApp, they might do the Facebook, but that's it. They don't do the other things, so we can't get them using our app as a regular thing. So this is why we have a NFC card. So they just have to boop, like this. The integration with point of sales is quite complex, because in the Netherlands alone we have 86 different computer systems. So yes, we have an API almost finished this summer, but it doesn't solve it, to be honest. So because only a few will be modern enough to integrate to our systems, and a lot of others are slightly behind there. So that's a really difficult thing. So the big thing that we are going to do now is go to the main payment terminal, which is in every shop. Every shop is having a what we call CCV terminal, which is 85% of the shops. Every country is having probably one provider that is the majority provider, and we are going to integrate on these terminals. And that's only important for shops that have a very fast moving type of client base. So they want you to be ready within a sec or two, and if it takes longer, then it's a problem already for them. So we need to bring down the transaction costs, transaction time basically. So the big challenge is to make sure, and I didn't speak about that, and it's a pity because it's in my other presentation, is to make sure that the marketplaces are relevant for the users, because every type of user group or relationship needs a different type of marketplace. So let's just speak about, for example, this one, because it's so relevant for time banking. All the research that I know to social marketplaces where you have end supply and demand, or both or one of the two, almost all of them are very, very, very ineffective. You can't get people so far that they put their advertisement online, and if they do so, you can't get others so far that they are going online to see what is offered. And that is a really big challenge. And the best solution in the time bank to solve this challenge is by having a broker. The broker solves it, because the broker goes online, sees the advertisement, sees the offers and the demands, and try to match. But if you don't have that broker, almost nothing happens. And what we try to do is make the marketplace extremely relevant for people by making sure that it's relevant for time, for the place where you are on that very moment, for the things that you did in the past, for your interests and for your capabilities. And that's only a Twitter type of messages, but you get notification. Also, if you did not install the app, you get notifications saying exactly, there's a lady, she's 300 meters from your house, and this lady needs somebody to bring her garbage down because she can't do that. And then this is pushed to 3 people which are close to that lady on that very moment. For example, the 3 of us, with the question, do you want to help her or not? And then you have 3 options, which is yes, no, or never. If you click never, you never get an advertisement like that again. If you click yes, it's stopped for the other 2. So I click yes the first, and I'm brought into contact with her automatically because the phone just rings her on that very moment. The lady, of course, needs an interface which she can handle. So if she's not digitally able to do that, we have just a phone number that she can call, and we have a professional or a volunteer picking up the phone and solving the problem for her. But that is what I mean, a meaningful marketplace, time relevant, and etc. And each of these relationships needs a different type of marketplace. So one for spies, you have the institutions and you have the local charities that give time credits to people that do something for the community. So what we developed is what we called a group activity. For example, I'm the municipality and I have this park and it's always dirty, especially on Saturday morning, because all the young people, say in between, say 15 and 20, go to that park, drink a lot of stuff, and they leave it there basically on the ground for the next morning. Big problem for almost every city, yeah? You must recognize this, I think. So we have a campaign now, we say we want to have 20 people who are going to the park on Saturday morning. We invite you to be there. We are going to give you credits if you come, and you can then clean the park, and after the cleaning you get your points. And that's a group campaign, which means that somebody of the municipality can start this campaign, can manage the campaign, and if there are 20 kids that say, yes, I want to go, then it's grayed out, as we call it, so you can't click on it anymore, and then people are coming, or not. There's also always a percentage that doesn't come. The city cleaners are the ones that are doing the campaign. So they are the ones inviting people for the campaign, and they are there on the Saturday morning. You live in Malmö, which is... Yes, they are. You're not changing the... By the way, in the Netherlands, I don't know how this is Sweden, but in the Netherlands, most people that did things like cleaning parks and cleaning streets are already fired. And now they are forced back with Social Security to do the same job as they had because they can't find a job. So this is where we are in the Netherlands. This is already reality. So we are beyond strike, I think. So we should have striked 10 years ago, but now it's too late because it's gone. Yes, trade unions very strong, you say. Yeah. So you will. But in Denmark, this also happened. Yeah, but slightly more strict because they have right-wing governments for a while now. I know it's in the UK, it's even severe. They have what they call big society, and they brought back all the budget for social care with 50-60% in municipalities. So it's even stronger in that type of country than in the Netherlands. The Netherlands is somewhere in the middle in how bad it can be. Belgium is also behind, but it's also starting in Belgium now. So we don't want to pay for social services or for environmental stuff or for culture stuff. If we want to do that, it's part of the civil society, but the government itself gets out. And if we want to change that, we need to vote better leaders. Sorry?
You are beyond strike, but does it mean that you enter in a new kind of Uberized services? It looks like Uberized. No, I say it gives impression that you enter in a way to provide public services to people who have no job, but they will work for 1 hour, for 2 hours, if the same way that Uber work with drivers.
Yeah, so it's just we always have a discussion if we are not changing paid jobs into unpaid jobs, and we are currently not active in any of the areas where this could happen. So we are only active in the areas where this already happened 5, 10 or 20 years ago. So that's more or less what's happening there. At the same time, we understand that we have the same problem as SPICE and some of the other initiatives that you can find, that we are, of course, providing a solution for areas where right-wing governments were responsible for breaking down a lot of the social structures that we had. This is also true at the same time. So the question is, do we do nothing, or do we try to co-create something meaningful back? And we choose for the last strategy because the alternative that I have is that I go in politics and that I try to get many votes, and I think I will not be very successful in that one. But I can do this. This is why I can have an impact. And I understand that I'm part of a playing game from other parties, which I dislike, but I can't do anything about it. What should? So what you create now, yeah, okay. What I think is that we have a lot of impact. We raise the income of small enterprises that are part of it, so of the shops. We bring them new customers, and we make sure that existing customers choose more often for the local shop and not for the chain, the big chain. We also know that we doubled the amount of voluntary hours in the projects where we counted them, like the elderly care center, which is one of the most successful examples that we have. Nobody there was fired, by the way, but the amount of quality in life went up. We also proved that we could separate waste much better. So people that get incentives for separating waste do this 4 times better than people who have only an informational campaign. And Hugo can tell much more about it if you want that, because he's having likewise experiences in Limburg in Belgium. So these are the type of things that you can do. A local authority or a local housing association or local care organization cannot be held responsible for things happening on the global or national level, although they might agree or disagree, which is something else. What they can do, though, is create meaningful relationships on that local level and make sure that we start to support each other and that we try to create a more inclusive society. And for the rest, it can be misused. That's true. It's like dynamite.
No question, it's just a comment. It is that I think that these kind of schemes based on co-production of services, they have to be there implemented if the welfare state is cut down or if the welfare state is expanded. So even if the welfare state was expanded, this would still be necessary, you see? It's even more necessary when it's cut down, but I believe that if the welfare state is expanded, this is still necessary. For example, Fureai Kipu for elderly care. Of course, we need public pensions, and pensioners need an income, but Fureai Kipu is helpful for them, even if they have pensions. Of course, it's more needed if they don't.
Yeah, I might be the exception, I don't know, but in Sweden, this particular case, I have a neighbor who can barely move from his house. He has someone who does the groceries for him. I mean, they come with a bike and with the groceries that take him wherever, to the dentist, everything, and it's taken care by the city. So providing that kind of service. I mean, he has visits twice every day. I see it from the kitchen window every day. Taking that away and providing it with this way, I'll have a trade union from the social workers actually on my house the day after.
But you live in the strongest social democratic society, which is still there. So now we come in a political discussion, and I think that we have to see that you have that every location is different, every region, every city